Magic's rolling.
Okay.
iPhone's rolling. Sodi's rolling. I'm gonna start the timer.
Rolling. Ah. Season 2, episode 5. Welcome
to
the Energy and Heart podcast.
by Steph.
New, okay, and Jiggy. All right, I'm leading today. Let's get straight to it. Give me your life updates.
How do we like Jiggy leading? Let us know.
I don't care.
It's very Jiggy like. This past weekend. Oh, we just talked about it. This past weekend, I went to see my parents for the first time in a while. It was really nice. We went to get Korean barbecue with Kato. You can tell just by me saying that who suggested that. It was definitely Kato. And it was their first time getting, it's been like 4 or 5 years since they've gotten Korean barbecue. So it was their first time in a while. So we were explaining like how to wrap your beef in the rice paper and like dip it in the sesame oil. So it was very cute. What did I walk away with from that? Like, I actually thought it was really cute. I think my parents really like Kano. They seem very happy with him. At the end, my mom wanted to take a photo of us, like all 4 of us. She loves taking selfies, as she like ushered like Kato in and stuff. So yeah, this just makes my heart really happy because not that like I necessarily want approval, but I think I get a sense that they feel like Kato takes care of me, and I think that's like their number one thing is like, you know, when you find a partner, will they care for you? Will they take care of you? Will you be safe with them? And so I get the sense that they really like him from the very beginning, but especially this lunch too. Yeah, and then like my dad asked me about how everything's going. So that was really cool. Like we used to be in a place where he didn't really ask about it. It's something that I kind of like brought up, but now it's like a more regular thing that he just asks how's the business going and stuff like that. And yeah, it's like nice to see that like shift. Things are changing slowly.
Reference
steadily.
to season 1, episode 2, when
Oh,
Steph's
yeah.
dad sent her an
email.
email about the job application
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
government job.
Yeah, it was very strange, but yeah, things are moving along, and it was very pleasant and like just a good time. Yeah.
Yay!
Yes. How was your weekend?
I'm not here to talk about my weekend. My life update is going to be a little different today, and it's going to segue into the topic of the day.
Tell us more. Deep breath for the preparation of this share.
People be irking me, okay? That's where I'm going to start. And these people, I want to call them trolls. But at the same time, they're not trolls. There's real people out there in the world who have a certain view on the shit that I talk about. Okay, that's fine, because I think that my speaking topics are controversial for the strangest reason. But for people, the way that they complain about what I talk about, it actually says so much more about them than it does about me. So the context is that I made the internet apparently go mad a week or 2 ago. I posted this video on my Instagram of, it was a snippet from a speaking engagement that I had. And I talk about how, I went off about how, if like corporate America or whatever, whoever is out there, if hustle culture tells you that you need to basically prioritize like working hard and having skipping lunch over prioritizing your health, basically you don't have to lean into that. Basically the message is like, I never talk shit about hard work. I'm a big believer in hard work. It's just that my message is above all else has to be your health. Because if you don't have your health, you can't work anyway. That is literally scientific fact. Like the math is mathing. Like if you are not healthy, if you can't sustain your life, you literally cannot work. If you are sick in bed, if you end up at the hospital, if your mental health isn't well, you literally cannot perform at a high level. That is a fact. Why are people getting so mad at me for telling them, hey, please have your lunch. Like, actually have it away from a desk. Please enjoy your lunch. Please do prioritize sleep. Please do take care of yourself. Please do take care of your health. Why are they getting mad at me for that? So then these people, of course, these are probably people who watch like the first 5 seconds of my video and they're like, this is what's wrong with this generation. They don't want to work hard. And they're like, what are you going to do if you don't work hard? How are you going to make the money? Or they're talking shit about like lunch. There was this one guy who came back 3 days later to the day that I posted it. He came back 3 days later and he was like, hey, just wanted to follow up. I skipped my lunch today. I'm still alive. And I'm like, you're my biggest fan. You're my biggest fan. Like, thank you for remembering me. And then coming back to the video 3 days later, you know what you did for me? You kept my post alive so that the algorithm still goes up 3 days later. And you know what's dope about trolls? I gotta thank you, trolls. Because y'all have the best marketing tactic. I don't know what it is that you did. I don't know if it's because of all the hate comments that you put up. I don't care. I don't know if it's because you shared it with your friends and said like, man, this bitch is dumb. I don't care. What is the algorithm of this video? Let me pull it up right now.
I'm shocked they had the time to come back and say
all
something?
that. I got comments on comments about that. Okay,
know.
views. 43,852 views, 1,436 likes, 78 comments, 363 shares, 215 saves. Let me say it straight. Like, I don't think I've ever talked shit about hard work itself. Because I'm a huge believer in hard work. I'm a huge believer in perseverance and consistency. At the end of the day, I am a motivational speaker. I do train Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. If anything, I might work harder than you ever will. But all I'm saying is that's not the only answer to joy and happiness and sustainability in life. In order for us to be able to show up at our best, we have to maintain our health and we have to maintain physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental. All areas. Relationships must be maintained. So many hustle culture out there who preaches about hard work and shit. They want to talk about how much money they got and show all of that off. But what they're not showing you is how they're basically going through a divorce or how their kids are mad at them. Like all of those things that are happening behind closed doors. I'm never going to apologize for telling people, hey, it's okay to prioritize your friends and family. Because we're all going to die. But at the same time, I also believe that it is when you have a calling, when you have a purpose, when you have a passion and you have a business or whatever goal that you may have in life, it is your responsibility to achieve those things. So I'm never going to knock down hard work. I understand that sacrifice and risk-taking are absolutely necessary. But the thing is that humans are literal people. Humans are literal learners. There are people out there who watch motivational videos every single day. So if every single day they consume content that tells them to lose sleep, they're going to take that literally and lose sleep every day. Because they consume that content every single day. I know that some people out there think, oh, it's just once in a while, Jiggy. It just means that you might lose sleep once in a while. It just might mean that you might skip lunch once in a while. That's what you might think. But this is why also motivational speakers and influencers on Instagram or whatever the fuck else has such a huge responsibility. And some people don't take it seriously enough. We got to watch what we say and how we say it. If you make one content that says that you need to lose sleep and da 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 da, people are going to repeatedly watch that content every single day. So then people then lose sleep, then go through burnout. But then there are content out there also that burnout is a lack of focus. No, it's not. It's a literal human bodily reaction. Burnout by definition is prolonged stress that hasn't been addressed. It's literally like by doctors now, you can be diagnosed with burnout. It is not lack of focus. That's just fucking stupid. That's not true. And people just don't want to acknowledge that we are human. We are humans with brains, where the brain operates a certain way. Our physical bodies, our health, diseases, they all happen a certain way. We are not invincible. And my favorite is when these go hard entrepreneurs, they go hard all day, blah, 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 blah. And then when their girlfriends out of nowhere surprise them and like take them on a surprise vacation, they come back with the content like, got the rest that I didn't know that I needed. Now I'm ready to go again. It's only the beginning. Like entrepreneurs love to say it's only the beginning. But it's like, I get back from the rest that I didn't know I needed. It's like, dude, just say that you needed to rest. That's okay. Another thing is if like entrepreneurs who go hard and want to wake up early all the time and they miss a day where they don't wake up at like 4 a.m. and they wake up at 6 or 7, but they post about it. Oh, missed waking up on time. I gotta do better. It's like, it sounds like your body needed it, and I'm sure you'll wake up on time tomorrow. It's not that serious. It's so crazy how people can take self-discipline. I'm about to give you all a word. What is the difference in your self-discipline? Is it self-discipline and self-love, or is it self-sabotage? And I know I talk about this a lot, but it's so important that we differentiate those two. So, why is hustle culture so obsessed with being told, lose sleep, you're on your own, no one cares, work harder? But when somebody comes along and says, you know what, I see you and your hard work, and you're allowed to rest, why is that triggering? It sounds like a personal problem to me. I just want to say, I know that y'all have been seeing me cry a lot lately, but don't forget that I'm that bitch. I wore my Timbs today for a reason. Y'all forget where I come from, you know what I'm saying? It's so sad to me. It's so sad to me when I see these leaders of the industry, these leaders of personal and professional development, spreading this message because it's sexy marketing and they have the money and the influence and the platform for all this marketing. And their message is what's killing people. Nobody's talking about entrepreneurial depression. But then their friend passes away and they're like, man, you never know what somebody's going through. Take care of one another. How you gonna take care of one another when you don't even take care of yourself, bitch? Man,
You're on one.
Fired up today. Did I say everything I wanted to say? Let me check my...
She has a whole list.
Yep. Okay, great. And then I talked about winning mentality. But before I talk about that, what's coming up for you?
I hear these things from you a lot, right? 'Cause,
Every day.
Yeah, every day, by the way. But I think it's still interestingly, still important for me to hear. And I think that speaks to how important the repetition of a message is. You know how if I find it so interesting you're mentioning how many people saved it, right? And I like to think that hopefully a ton of those people saved it because it was like the exact reminder that they needed, you know? And so I think all of this really speaks to like why you do what you do, why this podcast exists. Because kind of at the end of episode 4, I think, like the previous one, we were like, there is another way, you know? And I think we need to keep repeating it because people need to hear it. I don't hear it enough. I hear it, but I don't hear it enough, I think. And I think more people need to actually be expressing that. I think I'm in a different place now, I think, in my journey where it's sunken in a lot more. The idea of resting during entrepreneurship, the idea of like long-term sustainability. But I know in the beginning of my journey, like you weren't even getting through to me at the beginning of my journey. I was like, yeah, tomorrow, you know? And I think it's like, and it's wild because it's taken me 2+ years to fully embody it. And so I just think about how many people, you know, we listen to one piece of content and we're just like, okay, well, and then we go about our day and the masses are telling us like all these things versus one person telling us. And it just makes me think of like, what is the true solution? Like, I would love to hear from you, your thoughts on that. Like, what do you think is the solution to like help people move away from it? Because like I can tell you in my journey of moving away from hustle culture and moving towards more rest, it has taken a village. Yeah. It has taken like you telling me all the time, like Kayla telling me all the time, Norman telling me all the time, like so many people telling me, so many people keeping me accountable. And so like, but when I think about a lot of people, it's just like, what about if you're the one person that is on this journey surrounded by a lot of people who are deep, really immersed in that hustle culture? Like what do you say to those people? What do you recommend? Because I think it can be really hard to detach yourself when you grew up in that kind of community, because that's where I came from too, right? That's where we all came from. So it's like, how did you move away from that? What do you recommend to people who are stuck in that place?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a recovering hustle addict too. And it's before the word hustle, it was like the Asian culture and the parental expectations of academic excellence. Like that's like, for me, that was the first expectation of, you know, hustle, grind and all of that stuff. And I spent so much time just being in love with people. I don't want to drop names anymore, but like all those influencers and all those, everybody has a podcast now, like everybody yelling on the microphone, including myself. But like what it took for me is like I just started to get in the habit of questioning everything after my mom passed away. But then also when I had a panic attack at 24 years old, I was like, well, this certainly isn't healthy. But also because I have a chronic illness, I do have to watch my health. And so it's really easy for me to see what triggers stress in my body. And I was like, okay, I know that I have a chronic illness, so I see this happening. Like I have a machine that tells me this is happening. But for those who do not have a chronic illness, it's still happening. It's still happening. It's just that you don't have a monitor telling you that it's happening, but it's still happening in your bodies. So I don't know how y'all can, with the normal organs, gotta track it unless the body shuts down. When my body shuts down, I literally end up in the hospital or I can die. That's the only difference. But so I'm able to track it more and I see it literally. But at the end of the day, I think a very interesting angle to tackle and maybe reflect upon is that I think I talked about this a little bit in last season too. I think that lack of rest and the hustle culture's obsession of working 24/7 is actually a scarcity mindset. I think it's unhealed wounds. I think it's a defense mechanism. The reason why I say that is because a lot of the hustle culture usually have an upbringing or defense mechanism of, I am the only person that I can rely on. Which also translates to the whole self-made bullshit. Like, no one cares, work harder. It's because it's literally constant survival mode. You only know how to operate on your own, and people also believe that they can only survive on their own, rely by themselves. They can be the only ones getting the job done. And then it's also scarcity mindset. If I don't get this done, then who else will? But that's also why in the Bible, God encourages rest. And I know I talked about this last season too, but God's first example that he showed Adam and Eve, the two first humans on earth, apparently. I'll say apparently for those who are not believers, but like the two humans on earth, the first example that God showed them was on the seventh day, God rested. It was like on the sixth day or something that Adam and Eve were born, and then God rested on the seventh day. That was the first example of human existence that God showed humans. He was like, I know I'm God. I know I can keep going, but I'm going to rest. If God rested, who the fuck are you to be like, I don't need to rest. I'm the hardest worker in the room. I'm going to outwork everybody else. Like, and then also to not rest and keep going. Ambition is one, and I understand. Everybody has ambition. But it's also like when you're striving for something, why are you so desperate? You're literally putting it all onto yourself. You're literally taking 100% responsibility of the fruition and abundance of your life to yourself. You're literally putting 100% of the responsibility of future onto yourself. Aren't you exhausted? And if you're not somebody who, is a Christian or like you're not a believer or whatever, it's just like, I wish for you that you believe in, it doesn't even have to be a higher power. Maybe it's just the idea of the universe wishing you well and wanting to take care of you. Like, let's be honest. Are you not tired? Are you not exhausted surviving life on your own? Is it not exhausting to keep being self-made, to keep being like, oh, my family doesn't support my dreams and my friends don't understand? Like, isn't that exhausting? Are you not ready for community? Like, what if I told you that there's a whole group of people out there who are just like you and they are there to support you without any selfish agendas? What if I told you that those kind of people actually exist? Because they do. But you keep listening to content that keeps telling you that everybody's self-made and you gotta be a lone wolf and all this shit. No wonder you manifest that exactly for yourself. That's all you're surrounded by. You need to start listening to some shit else. You need to start listening to this podcast more and unsubscribe everything else. Of course, if you listen to that kind of message, of course that's what's going on in your brain. Of course that's what's going to manifest in your life. How are you going to wish for something different if you're doing nothing to do things differently?
I feel like people.
Why am I so mad today?
Okay. It's one of those things. I feel like we haven't been mad this entire season. I've been mad off camera, but this season we've been pretty mellow. Like, I think we've been chatting about a lot of different things. I appreciate the difference. I feel like people who are in there, stuck in the culture. Like, my commentary on that is that I think some people are like so committed to it, and like, we're not talking to those people. I think when we speak about this, we're talking about the people who are right at that edge, who question it.
Curious.
Who are just like, this can't be the only way, right? Because that's where we all started, right? And so I have a lot of empathy for people who are there, and I have a lot of compassion for people who are there, because I think I speak for us both when we say we have been there. And I think in those moments, I don't think it's that people don't want to. I just think it's really scary, because when you're at the edge of wondering whether this hustle culture and grinding sort of lifestyle makes sense or not, it's a very scary place to be, because the second you admit that it might not be, your whole world shatters. Everything you've ever known shatters. And I think people are very afraid of that experience. Mm-hmm. And that's why some of us continue to move forward, in the ways that we have been, like continue to grind despite what our bodies tell us, despite our bodies begging us for rest, it's because of the fear of your whole world breaking down and everything that you've ever known to be untrue. And I think this goes for not just hustle culture, but a lot of different things. And I think that's why messaging like this is so important, and also like really sharing what that experience of transition is. I think is really important because that gives people insight into the very human experience of it, of you feeling super rattled and of you feeling like, oh my God, like things don't make sense anymore, right? Because you're trying to break an entire cycle that you have been in. And so it's very understandable to be very fearful, to be very avoidant, to be really scared. And I just say that because I think some people who may be listening may be at that like point where they're just like wondering. That's why they're here. There's no way like people like way on the other side of the spectrum, there's no way they're listening to our podcast, right? But I imagine people who are here are right at that edge, right? And so I think I think what I would love to hear is from you is like, how did you transition out? Like, how did you know like this is the way, which I know like is a lot of your story, but like what was the process like, you know? Because I think that process is what people need to hear about. Like, what was the day-to-day like? What kinds of decisions were you having to make that finally made the difference in transitioning sort of like out of that culture and recovering from that? Because I think that's going to be really helpful to people who are listening. I have my own examples too.
I have this quote,
Yeah.
and I say, rest doesn't delay progress, burnout delays progress.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because back in like 2019, that was around the time when I had that panic attack. I was so burnt out, I couldn't work for a year. And would you rather take even just a day off for yourself? A day for yourself. Or a few days, a few weeks. Would you rather do that? Or would you rather spend the whole year in agony, in disappointment, in anger, in frustration, in feeling behind because you literally do not have the bandwidth, the desire, the energy, anything at all, feeling completely worthless and helpless, not being able to work and do your calling? It's one of the most devastating feelings to hold, to think you are not living in your purpose. It's one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. And so you go about that for a whole year. If you've never experienced that, let me just say it up front. I felt betrayed. I was only doing what society was telling me to do, what the podcasts were telling me to do, what the books were telling me to do, what these influencers were telling me to do. I was taking all of that in and applying it every single day with the consistency, with the perseverance, with the XYZ they were telling me to do. I showed up, I did the Gary Vee like 9 to 5, and then after 5 you work till 12 and just repeat, do it over like on the weekends. I did all of that shit, and that's what happened. And I just didn't want to live that anymore. There was just no way. I think that everybody here by now knows that I take my calling very seriously. I believe that it's my calling and my purpose and my duty and my gift from God. I am dishonoring God if I am not serving my purpose. That is unacceptable to me. If you take your purpose seriously enough, you would not do this or that. You would do all that it takes. So do we really think that it only takes work? That's literally not how humans can high perform. And that's also my segue into like acknowledging or encouraging everybody, start looking at the difference between hustle and high performance. High performance has a strategy. That strategy must include your method of work that is most effective for you, and it must include rest. Hustle is just putting your head down and working. When we work hard, it's not just about working hard. You must work hard effectively towards the direction you're supposed to go. I used to tell Steph when we first met, I said, why is it that you wake up at 5 a.m.? Just because this influencer told you to, or does it actually align with the goal that you have? Why are we doing shit just for the fuck of it? Versus being very clear of our goals, being very clear of the steps to get there, and not wasting energy doing all this busy work shit. People are obsessed with being busy. It doesn't mean productive. Also, it's like somehow instant gratification is like culture's obsession with instant gratification comes into play with this somehow. It's like you realize success isn't gonna come overnight, right? You know that, right? So even if you like skip a day, it doesn't mean you missed a chance. It's gonna happen for you. If you deeply believe in your heart that you have a purpose and a future and a calling for your life, it's gonna happen, boo. It's gonna happen. It just takes time. God puts time and deadlines on certain things. They give you a gift and they put a little tag on it with a time and a date on it. It's gonna happen. You have to believe that it's gonna happen. It's not going to happen overnight. That means that we're in this for the long run. So that doesn't mean that we sprint the entire way. Literally look at a marathon. They literally do not sprint the entire time. They literally do not. Listen, I repeat myself a lot, and I know that people out there are listening to mad motivational videos, but at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility and accountability that watching the video isn't going to do shit. Listening to podcasts and reading books isn't going to do shit. You have to start applying yourself. So me telling you all of this, at the end of the day, I know doesn't matter. I've known that since the first day I decided to become a motivational speaker. I know that people don't have to care about what I say. I know that even if I give a great speech, at the end of the day, you can leave and not apply it. But that's not on me. That's on you. It's not my responsibility to take care of you. But you're lucky that I'm spending my time and energy telling you all this good shit. What are you going to do with it? Yeah. Stop asking me, but Jiggy, how do I do that? How do I go? You start looking. You start to figure out what tired you out. You start to figure out how long you've been working, what work like doesn't energize you, what social interactions doesn't nourish you, like who drains you, what kind of content you consume. You start doing it.
She just gave all the answers.
Start doing it. Y'all love doing shit all the time. You start doing it. Stop asking questions. You already know the answer. You want the answer? That's what people pay me for. Get the fuck out of here.
Really holding all of that anger today.
I had a great day today. Nothing happened. Nothing triggered this. I
think this has been brewing though.
It's been brewing because people are still liking that video. People are still commenting on that video. And today I was just like, you are my biggest fans.
Yeah.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
I think what I hear from your video is that a lot of us were conditioned to continue to do things, and doing things we're taught equates to progress, right? Equates to movement, when in reality there's it's actually a range of I guess you call a range of colors. Like when you're doing something, I guess I'll reference the 10K framework by Kehi, but it's you really have to take a look at what exactly you're doing and see if that it makes sense for you to be doing that. I feel like a lot of people we're just not thinking, we're just in execution mode all the time. And I think that's the problem with hustle culture, is that we equate that with progression, when in reality we should be strategic about what we are doing. We should be thinking about what we're doing, but we're so obsessed with the doing that we're not actually thinking about the execution. And I think it's just very imbalanced. Like if you think about a scale, we're just like always doing things and not thinking enough. And that's why like strategizing is such an important like part of the process, but we're not taught that either, because we're always taught like execute, execute, and execute. And I fell into that trap too. Like that's why I'm always doing things. And then there was a point where I was like, oh my God, I have not thought about the business at all from like a strategy perspective. I've just been doing so much, and like what you do also evolves too. And so I feel like you need to take time to think about things so that you can maneuver through like the evolution. Because I feel like there's always something that's changing. There's always things that are moving. And so like having checkpoints, I think along the way are like really important too. Yeah, I think that's what I'm hearing from like what you're sharing, is that there's not enough thinking, not enough strategizing, which is a really weird backwards like way of thinking about it. Because when I think about what I learned, it's always like over-indexed on doing. And so I feel like that's very different from like what we were taught.
Two things. One, I find it very strange for the older generation or anybody from hustle culture shaming the process of healing and talking about our generation being soft and all of this stuff, saying that back in the day you didn't need any of this healing or mental health stuff. We know you think that. That's why we're trying to break the generational cycles, because we don't want to be like you.
Word.
We've been impacted negatively because you didn't take care of your mental health. We know. You don't have to tell us you didn't see therapy. We know. We've been impacted and we don't want to be like you. That's why we're doing it. Second, can we just be honest here and acknowledge that hustle culture is the action of capitalism? And capitalism is just so obsessed with the most successful is the hardest working, but we all know that just because somebody is the hardest worker doesn't always mean that they're the most financially successful. There are people out there who are literally working so hard and still dying. So stop romanticizing that shit.
I don't have anything more to say. I thought that was a great ending.
I feel like this entire episode I was just yelling, and then you get the calm version with Steph. The timestamp should be Jiggy yells about this. Steph explains it in a calm manner. Jiggy yells about this. Steph explains in a calm manner. The energy and the heart.
I don't think you were yelling. I think it was just very energetic. I think you're very passionate about this. It's like, I would be weirded the fuck out if you weren't energetic about it. Like, I think it's important to hear. I think it's important for people to hear how passionate you are about it. Because like you said, like people are fucking dying. Like people are actually dying from this. So it's not actually like I don't want you. No, like do not apologize, and do not like don't hold back. Like I think people need to hear that.
One of the testimonials that I got from a speaking engagement, this one student said, like, I have never heard of a speaker who is so passionate about people taking care of themselves.
Which is a shame.
I think the future needs that. Like, they are the future. And I think they need somebody who shows them that.
Mm-hmm. That's why you do what you do. That's why the world
I'm gonna
needs
kill
you.
hustle culture. I'm gonna be like, who's that artist? Banksy.
Oh, Banksy, yeah.
I'm gonna kill hustle culture, and you're gonna see my message everywhere, and you won't be able to escape me. And in the most random places, you won't expect me, but I'll be there.
Kind of into it.
I'm gonna suffocate you.
Big brother feels.
I will rear naked choke you.
It's a little violent, but I think I got the message. What an episode. That was fiery.
I also want to make it clear. I always make this very clear. I'm not preaching laziness. That's not what I'm saying. If I have to explain that to y'all, I need everybody to have critical thinking. I know it's a part of the SATs. Please have some critical thinking. That is all. I don't have anything more to say.
Same.
All
I
right.
think we said what we needed.
Yeah. Okay.
Season 2, episode 5.
Bye.
Oh, that was good.
I'm hot.
Yeah, I could tell.